You never knew that Skyfall was gonna get the proper sequel that it deserved. Moonfall! Now we just gotta complete the trilogy with Sunfall! So Moonfall is the newest movie from Roland Emmerich, who has spewed nonsense after nonsense recently about how movies are the same, and yet he's been creating the same movie for 20 years now. Dude hasn't made a good movie since The Patriot. In other words, a mysterious force knocks the moon from its orbit around Earth and sends it hurtling on a collision course with life as we know it. And now 2 astronomers have to go up into space and see what's going on with the moon, and there's conspiracy theories involving Samwell Tarly from Game of Thrones. Dude's the man. Show some respect. Now we have our Moonfall movie. Okay, so first of all, with a Roland Emmerich movie, I'll give the man credit where credit is due. Visually, this movie looks good. Outer space in the movie doesn't look as good as it does in Interstellar or Gravity or anything, but I mean, for the most part, the visual effects hold up really well. It's clean, there's no glitching, it doesn't look like it's so obvious as just CGI. It actually looked like I was on a sound stage or in space at many points in this movie. And the premise is pretty cool. I mean, the moon coming off of its orbit and redirecting its orbital path, that's interesting, but unfortunately an interesting premise leads to very poor execution. In this movie, I know exactly what this movie is supposed to be. Before you come at me and be like, well, I think you missed the whole point of the movie. Well, no, I know what the whole point of the movie is supposed to be. Not sure if Roland Emmerich knows what the whole point of the movie is supposed to be, but at least I do, and anybody who's going to watch this movie knows that they're supposed to be getting a big, dumb, stupid, cheesy, sci-fi B movie. But what I got wasn't that. It was just dumb. In critic reviews, I've seen people comment on the fact is that this movie is really going to divide people as to whether or not you think it's so bad it's good or so bad it's bad. I was really hoping that this would be at least so bad it's good, or at least that it would just bring me back to that nostalgic 90s action movie feel, you know, like kind of like one of Roland Emmerich's previous films, Independence Day. I was like, don't be an exact copy of Independence Day, but if you can capture the big dumb gimmick of that movie and the stupidity of that movie, but make it fun and I can just turn my brain off, sure, I'll probably like Moonfall. But unfortunately, Moonfall isn't that. Moonfall, for me, takes itself way too seriously to the point where it's just a bad movie. It's just really, really bland. There are so many cookie-cutter characters in this movie. And it's strange because the movie knows it has well-known actors and actresses as these cookie-cutter characters, but it uses them as a facade to mask how little development they have. It was so concerned with saying, oh hey, here's Halle Berry, here's Patrick Wilson, 2 very familiar faces, so you're just gonna like them anyway. That doesn't mean a single goddamn thing in here. There's no character development whatsoever. I mean, there's really piss-poor dialogue between everybody. Even poor John Bradley, Samwell Tarly wasn't a good character. He just kind of came across as a bumbling idiot, obsessed with conspiracy theories, and the way that he was woven into the plot, I was like, I don't really buy that, you know? I guess for most of the movie, I was like, okay, this is very bland and with very hollow characters, common staple in Roland Emmerich movies. But then we get to the third act, and the third act just goes complete bananas and requires brain cells to die inside your head because it tries to be smarter than it actually is. At that point in the movie, it treats science fiction like it's science fact. That's the point where the movie lost me. Look, I'm not asking for scientific accuracies here. I mean, this movie has been criticized for being scientifically inaccurate, but to those people that are criticizing this movie for that, what did you expect? It's a Roland Emmerich movie. It's a disaster movie. Obviously, there's going to be scientific inaccuracies. I'm not going into this movie as one of those science teachers that's like, actually the moon doesn't orbit around the earth like that. It's actually something else, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm not going to point out the scientific inaccuracies. If I were here to learn about so much science, I'd watch something like Contact, you know? I'm not here to point out the scientific inaccuracies in this movie because the whole thing is scientifically inaccurate. You think the producers of the James Bond series, when they made Moonraker, were like, let's be scientifically accurate. This is just science fiction.
We're not science fiction, we're in fact science fact.
Okay, I guess, sorry Albert R. Broccoli, I guess it's science fact. But that's my problem with the third act of this movie. It treats everything that it was set up as if, nope, you have to believe this is actual science, and it continues to beat you over the head with that, despite how ridiculous the third act is and how ridiculous that twist is. There's also this subplot with this group of bandits coming after some people. This is a complete time waster. Why was this in the movie? They contributed nothing to the overall story other than just setting up some random conflict that didn't have to be there. I guess your tolerance for a movie like this just depends on what you think is fun and what you think is bad. For me, this wasn't the type of tone for me to say that, yeah, this is dumb and it's stupid, but I'm having fun with it. For me, it was just one of those movies that was bad, it's bad. It's really, really bland. It doesn't stick out amongst a field of Roland Emmerich movies of the last 20 years. So when he's opening his mouth and saying Star Wars and Marvel movies are one and the same, there's no originality in them. I hate to break it to Roland Emmerich, but he's kind of contradicting himself because he's just making the same movie for the past 22 years now. This is the same movie as Day After Tomorrow. This is the same movie as 2012. This is the same movie as 10,000 BC. It is the same movie as White House Down, except there's no natural disaster in White House Down. It's the same movie as Independence Day Resurgence. It's just all the same regurgitated things from Roland Emmerich that you come to expect. It's just nowhere near as fun as Independence Day or even The Day After Tomorrow. I'd rather watch The Day After Tomorrow. At least it's got Jake Gyllenhaal on some semblance of characterization. The best compliment I can give this movie? The visuals and its premise. The rest of the execution is pretty piss poor in my opinion. Dumb and stupid, but not in the ways that I was hoping. Not in the unintentionally funny ways that I was hoping that this movie would play into. There was nothing like there was in Geostorm when the storm was just shooting balls of hail at people or balls of ice at people. I wanted shit along that route. I mean, at least the title lives up to its promise. The moon actually does fall. I mean, there's no Thanos ripping the moon out of the sky with an infinity stone and throwing it at Iron Man or anything. But the moon does fall. I mean, slight spoiler, it does fall. So the title is accurate. That's one thing that's accurate. Watching Moonfall was even worse than eating stale popcorn. So guys, have you seen Moonfall? I want some feedback. Drop me some feedback in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden. I'll see you at the movies somewhere.